Welcome to Freedom TV. How you guys doing? This will talk about something very interesting. Why remote work is no longer an option. Why has remote work declined in the West? Why isn't it more prominent when COVID proved that remote work is actually more economical, more viable than coming to the office? COVID really showed us that most of these jobs are bullshit. They're unnecessary, or they're run very inefficiently, and that's the main thing. A lot of meetings can be done virtually. A lot of people don't have to go drive in traffic, which is stressful, and go to work, wasting time. And the one thing most people realize is we don't have a lot of time on the earth. We spend most of our time at work. We spend about 10 to 12 hours a day commuting, leaving, and being at work. Now, remote work showed us that it's we can have a more better work-life balance. But since once COVID ended, now companies are forcing people back to work, back to the 9 to 5 grind of the job, the office, dealing with a lot of the politics. And unfortunately, the work environment used to be a fun place before the mass integration of women being in the workplace. I think having women in the workplace is a huge distraction, and a lot of companies are forced to hire more than 50%, at least 50% women at the workplace, or they'll get sued. And that's really unfair because many women are unqualified for these jobs. We saw during the pandemic that many women in Google, all these social media companies, when they were hiring due to the STEMI checks, and all these companies had money to burn a hole in, a lot of the women were on TikTok posting, basically getting six-figure jobs, sitting around doing nothing, just drinking coffee, being in useless meetings, and just doing nothing. So a lot of the fat of the jobs were cut after the stimmy checks got cut. And you realize that our economy is ran extremely inefficient. And that's on purpose. A lot of these jobs, we have a lot of useless jobs in America, a lot that should be cut. A lot of these fast food jobs can be automated through kiosks. A lot of waitresses and waiter jobs, complete crazy that you have to tip 20% and you get horrible service. Like when I went to a restaurant last week with my friend, horrible service, no smile. The lady didn't even look at us with eye contact, and she expected a $20 tip for handing me my water once. Once. You didn't refill my water twice. And these people are as extreme, many Americans are extremely entitled, very entitled. Like the economy is run extremely inefficient, and you can tell. Like many of the jobs Americans work are pretty useless. Now, their job, and in corporate America, they're not utilizing their skills better. And a lot of people can be doing their work from home. Like a lot of these marketing jobs, a lot of these sales jobs, many of these jobs can be done remote. A lot of administrative jobs, scheduling jobs for surgeries, uh, many administrative jobs can be done from home. And it would actually cost the company less if it was done that way. But a lot of these companies signed multi-year leases on these buildings. So now they need to have people in there to justify all this money they invested in. So they don't want us to leave. And another thing is, a lot of the cost of living in America is extremely high. So a lot of people would like to make money in California, but live in Oklahoma, where the rent is like four, five, $600 a month, versus paying like 3,000 a month in California, where you have to deal with the crime, the mass immigration of Hispanics. It's crazy. But companies, I see a lot of remote jobs now. They post on there, oh, you have to have a certain type of internet. Oh, you have to live in this state. Companies are putting stipulations and restrictions because they know that people want their freedom. They know this. And human nature is a very wicked thing. Human beings do not want to see other human beings happy, because if they have to come to work and do 9 to 5, they don't want you to have your freedom and being happy. Or they do have their freedom, like Elon Musk. He forced all his employees to come back to work when he took over Twitter, to come to the office and not do remote work. But I'm like, Elon, you don't have to go to an office every day. You're flying on yachts and doing anything you want because you're the head boss. It's extremely disingenuous to expect other people to not have some level of satisfaction in their life, work life balance. And you realize that they look at you as a slave, as cattle. They don't look at you as human beings. Because what would it hurt the company? You would save money if 80% of your employees were remote. And many people are trying to live abroad. A lot of people are trying to live in like El Salvador, Mexico, Asia, and do their jobs, which they can do. But they're putting internet restrictions where they say you have to have broadband internet. You can't use public Wi Fi. Why not? It's no harm. They have good, secure internet. And it's because they want you as slaves. The governments and corporations want you miserable, spending money in America, buying useless stuff that you don't need, consume, 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 where you're going to be fat with the GMO food, where you're going to be miserable because if you're a man, you're not even the head of your own house. It's happy wife, happy life. And then if you make her mad, she's going to divorce rape you and put you on alimony and child support. And you're going to have to still pay her for the house that you don't even live in. Isn't that crazy? Versus living remote and say living in either Thailand, Mexico, um, uh, Peru, anywhere of those places where the laws are more natural, where the government is not so invasive in the family structure, where men have authority over their household and the women are more compliant. I'm not The female nature is still the same, but the environment in those countries prevent women from abusing, men, abusing their household, using the system to destroy their own husbands and their own families. That system is more fair. And the governments don't want you going to those countries, taking your dollars in Mexico, in Asia, because then the women, they're not paying taxes. The men have the money. The women uses the men's money to consume. Men are the producers. Men create everything. Men are the business owners. Women aren't creating businesses. The majority of the businesses that women produce are useless, and they crash and burn. Women are the consumers. But if all the men, the well-to-do men, leave, so the only people left are the illegal immigrants, the women, and the low class men who aren't intelligent enough to produce anything, then there won't be able to fuel the capitalist system of endless spending, endless consuming. Now, free market capitalism is a good thing if it's done right. But because our system is so inefficient, what does it promote on TikTok? It promotes dancing, degeneracy, and craziness, crime, people recording crimes, people dancing, girls twerking. In Asia, they promote piano players, mathematicians, scientists, ballerinas. In the West, Cardi B, Little Uzi Vert, Bad Bunny, degenerates. So they don't want you to have your freedom to live where you want because they want you as a slave. They want you to stay here, buy more iPhones, stay fat, stay miserable with a fat, ugly wife who don't obey you, and the kids aren't even yours. That's what they want from you. They don't want you to work a remote job making $25 an hour, living in Guatemala or Nicaragua, where the rent's only $300 a month, with a very attractive, fit Latina woman who gives you good head and a hot meal with your three kids, where there are actual people who are real Christians that follow Christian doctrine, that follow what the Lord says. But unfortunately, they want you here miserable, where the women are allowed to misbehave and act out on their worst impulses without being disciplined and corrected. While men, even the most slight hint of masculinity, I'm uncomfortable. The women will say, I'm uncomfortable and call the cops on you or get you fired from your job. Who wants to be in that environment? I look at men today. They're pushing baby carts. They're literally second mothers. They're emasculated. They've been emasculated for generations now, decades. But the emasculation was slow. It was methodical. They chipped away at you with 1,000 cuts. But anyways, thank you.